This is CRT Blacks here for the running of the Belgium Grand Prix for Tier 1 in Spa, as you see here. And I'm going to go ahead and say on the limb here, this is going to be a long video. And it really pisses me off looking back at this, but I've looked at this video probably about 4 or 5 times since Sunday or Saturday when the race happened. I looked at it about maybe 3 or 4 times actually, so maybe a good 7 or 8 times, at least about 3 or 4 times on Saturday, and then Monday, on the day of this recording, I looked at it for another probably about 3 or 4 times. So yeah, maybe about 7 or 8 times. But anyways, we're in the lobby here, and we're gonna try and set a medium lap because I'm feeling pretty good, but I'm also kind of wary of this corner here. I know the car does tend to wash out, so especially when you hit the curb. So yeah, I'm gonna try and take it as easy as I can up through there because I need to build confidence for this track. But going through here, we're gonna go ahead and start the lap, and yeah, so we start the lap and we get a pretty good exit out of this chicane, and you see here braking pretty much in the yellow, and that actually kind of does give me some pretty good rotation, but I felt like I could have went deeper into the corner, but car stuck pretty nicely. And you'll see going up through here, we hit the track limits pretty nicely, and now we just let the Honda power unit and our setup do the rest for us. And I'm running about mid downforce, I believe, for this track. This track is, I actually would say you probably would like to run a bit of downforce here, because the second sector, you actually can really pull through there. But the thing is, if you don't have the ERS, if you don't pull him out of the DRS, you're gonna suffer, because then you're gonna have a hard time recouping it. So that's why I wanted the setup to be good through the second sector, but the second sector is more of the driver rather than, I would say, the setup, as you should actually kind of see going through the race. But anyways, going through here, you see we do kind of miss the apex a bit, but it wasn't a bad corner. Here we don't really run too close to the white line because, again, I don't want to spin out. But even at that, we actually had a purple sector 2 in that sector, but I knew it actually wasn't a real purple sector 2, or it was just at the time, obviously. So either way, I knew it was just, that was basically just a signal that this is a really, really good lap, because I was actually better through sector 2 than probably any sector. So it puts this P4 a little below 5 tenths. So yeah, I'm definitely looking pretty good, because now as I jump down to P5, I'm thinking, okay, soft tires could be the play here. And in my head, I'm thinking, do I want to go on the softs? Because the medium to soft is just such a strong strat. It's a really, really strong strat here, and I don't want to really, I would say, let Destroyer and Dorian get out into a lead, because I know they have some pretty strong pace compared to the others. Because there's a couple of guys obviously that can stay with them, but in tracks like this, you're gonna have to stay with the leader if you really want to win. If the leader breaks DRS and you don't have the pace to keep up, that's pretty much GG unless a safety car comes out. So here, I'm deciding I'm gonna go with my gut feeling here and put on the softs. As you'll see here, yeah, we're putting on the softs, and yeah, sorry, another pretty good exit off the chicane is we actually don't really, I believe we, actually if I remember, I don't think we really improved that much, as much as I thought at least, because I don't think we took it in deep enough, but I think we did come off the corner pretty nicely. But anyways, going through here, you're going to see that the car is pretty hooked up, and here's going to be a purple sector 1. So, and then we go through the chicane pretty nicely. Don't really upshift to 5th fast enough. And here we brake pretty early just to keep the car rotated. We go down to 2nd gear, get it rotated, and then going through here, as you see some of the tires, we don't really use up all the track because this is a pretty good lap. That purple sector 1 made me kind of want to just chill, but here we hit the curb and that unsettles the car a bit, and then we run a little low too, again out of the exit, and that unsettles the car. So yeah, that cost us probably about, I would say, half a tenth to a tenth. And then going through here, we completely missed the apex, and that is probably, I would say, a tenth to 2/10 maybe. I don't know. That's just coming through my head. It could have been probably about, I would say maybe a tenth and a half. So we threw away probably about 2.5 tenths on this lap, but it's still a purple sector 2. So going through here, we kind of just take it easy. We use a little bit too much curb, but still got off the corner pretty nicely, and it is going to be pole, provisional pole. So, but pay attention to this, and you know, I'm actually kind of, I'm not, and before I say this, I'm not upset about it, because it is what it is. You know, there's certain people that just report, and there's certain people that don't. But you'll see here, we're on board with Destroyer, and you'll see here that my AI apparently impeded him. From what it looked like, it didn't happen, but at the same time, I still retired on track. And once I saw that and Destroyer said something, I was like, yep, he's gonna report it. So, because I mean, it's Destroyer, it is what it is. You know, he has the right to report. But the Destroyer actually wasn't even the first guy to report it. It was actually Jesper, and you know, this is tier 1. I mean, people report, and that's kind of why I don't like the tier as much as I used to, because people just report too much and kind of kill the tier for me. But there's some people that don't do that, but I mean, I understand it. It is what it is. You know, but what comes along with that, people do remember those things, especially for Jesper. You know, he had nothing to do with it. So if I decide to race him or anything, he can't be upset about it. Just like I can't be upset what I did. You know, it is what it is. You know, Destroyer, he really does kind of have a reason. I could say so, but you know, I'm not really bashing those guys for reporting. I mean, if they want to report, they can. But I'm just saying, there's some people in this tier, actually in the league, and really F1, that remember those things. So you kind of have to be careful who you're reporting and what you report. So,
alright, let's get ready to crash.
but you know, it's all good. But anyway, we're gonna move on to the race here.
I'll crash this race or any other races for the rest of the season.
You were, let's just say, in for a treat. The next, yeah, about to say,
Keep an eye on the lights.
19 and a half minutes are about to be something. So,
Let's go.
here we go though. We are about to get this underway and come into 5 laps and they're out, and the Belgium Grand Prix is underway, and I get a really good start, and I'm see these guys are side by side, and you see me kind of just overcook it. I think that was just mainly the tires are kind of cold. I don't really know why. It just seems weird to me that they did that. I wasn't really expecting that, but you can see it. We actually kind of build a bit of a gap here, and I'm actually going to be pretty efficient here and decide to turn off my ERS pretty early, because I know through sector 2 I'm really good apparently, pretty much. So, oh yeah, I'm pretty good through sector 2 pretty much. So I know I can build a gap, and going on to the next lap, we actually got the gap to 8 tenths, then it kind of came back down to 7 tenths, but you can see we just cannot turn into the corner, and that's because the tires already starting to overheat. My tires aren't even cold. They're pretty warm because I always warm up my tires pretty nicely. And well, actually, no, I don't. I leave them probably around 180, 190 because that's kind of where you get the best traction. Mainly 180, about 180, 185, at least for me. But you see here, we actually got Destroyer out of DRS, but the deployment for this lap is very, very low, so I can't use it down to the chicane. But here, we just can't slow down, and I think that mainly was because I didn't really brake early enough. It was kind of a late braking, so now it's not really going to be possible as we just completely overshoot the corner again. So I don't know really what's going on, but Destroyer is close enough where he can attack. As you can see, he's about 6.5 tenths away, so he's definitely close enough for an attack. And you're going to see here, I'm looking to see if he's going to attack, and he is using the ERS, and the DRS is now deployed. And I use the ERS not to defend, but try to stay alongside him for this corner. But you can see here, I don't slow down quick enough, so I just give it to him. And I guess here he just was frustrated because for some reason Destroyer just doesn't like me racing him for some reason. He doesn't like getting raced apparently from anybody. You know, I don't know, he just has something upset about. But the Suzuki actually spins out and he actually got disqualified for going backwards. So if we finish the race, we're going to pass him in points. But we still need to beat Destroyer. He's the guy we need to beat. But at this point, I kind of knew if I don't do anything this race, the championship is probably going to be looking over. Because I admit, Destroyer's got a pretty lucky in some recent races like Monaco and the Netherlands. You know, he had some trouble, but he got he had a few incidents in a couple other races, safety car. But you know, that's part of racing. Luck's a part of racing, so I'm not saying that's the reason why he's leading the championship. But here, he goes defensive, and, you know, this is kind of telling me, okay, he's going to kind of fight me a bit hard here. But you see, he actually gets a really bad exit. I used the ERS here. He actually going to go defensive, and he just pinches me all the way down to the grass. He leaves me no space. So here, you'll see, I could tell he didn't really plan on leaving me any room there, and I actually lifted out of that because I wanted to see how would he do, and he took that really aggressively. So that tells me already he's pretty irritated, and to say he was already having issues because we actually had a run-in at the Netherlands, and he was kind of upset that I didn't get a penalty. Shocker, because, you know, Destroyer, but he was pretty upset about that. So I guess he wanted to show me, he wanted to make a statement this race. He wasn't happy about that. And
we expect the grip levels to start falling away soon.
Yeah, but I want you to pay attention to another thing is this. I want you to pay attention to the lines he takes into corners. And if you didn't see from the last one, entering to this turn right here, he's going to be doing some questionable things. And mainly I want you to watch turn 1. You'll see later in the race, but I want you to watch his turn 1s. So here,
there's been an incident on track resulting in loose debris.
He actually goes out to break the slipstream, but I wasn't really concerned about passing him here. But here, I don't get the traction I need to get close to him. So he just kind of pulls away, so I have to use a bit of the ERS here. But the thing I'm starting to think about, do I want to burn the ERS up right now? Do I just want to save a bit here and kind of just hold back? Because I kind of thought about recouping my ERS, but I'm going to decide to kind of fight here. But you can see here, he turns in very early. And I think compared to his last lap, if you saw the line, I think he followed that line as he blocks me again to the grass, which I don't mind. It is what it is, you know, hard racing. I'm all for that, you know, especially the guy behind me, Drayan. You know, he's probably the hardest racer I know. Him or Destroyer. When Destroyer gets upset, you know, he does tend to race really hard. And as we get a warning there, but as Rusty Oldcan gets disqualified for, I believe, going backwards. But, you know, Drayan, you know, he doesn't really report a lot, which is why I typically like racing him, because he understands what hard racing is. Unlike most of the guys in Tier 1, I think if people just tend to report a lot in Tier 1, and that's kind of why I don't enjoy it as much as I used to, especially this season. This season I've just seen so many reports, and Premier, I see those guys race really hard and don't report, even when they crash. Tier 1 is the complete opposite. So you can race hard, but someone's going to end up reporting you. Mainly the guy in front of me, or someone that just has nothing to do with anything. So, but it is what it is. You know, I can say though, depending, you know, no one, at least probably Suzuki, is going to go to Tier 1 or Premier Tier next season based on pace, unless some people leave. But now we're gonna look to do the move on Destroyer, and if you see this again, I'm on his inside and we do make the move, but I mess up my braking and I actually hit him off, and I can say that wasn't intentional. Was I mad about it? Yeah, not really. I kind of felt he deserved that, but it's just hard racing. I mean, he did this. He's done the same thing to me before. So going through here, I want you guys to watch this, because this is actually a good time to pit for the mediums. Usually the pit, so I act like I'm gonna pit, but I actually fake it out. And I think Dran actually was gonna do it too, but I decided to stay out. I didn't want to. I just really didn't feel like it was time to pit yet. I felt it was kind of a little early. Well, I don't really think it was early. I think I just rather get the undercut. So Destroyer is gonna come out P5, because as you see here, my teammate Jesse is 2.9 seconds, or 2.8 now, behind me, as Ray retires and Drayan gets by me, which I actually wanted him to do, because that will save us a bit of time. And you know, as I go along here, I feel like that was a smart move to do. But my teammate, he is rapidly coming. He's on medium tires, so he's pretty quick right now. And I knew now that he was definitely going to be a threat for this race as Frosty retires. And here I'm thinking, if we get a safety car right now, my teammate's strategy is destroyed, because he's actually very, very close to me. But not only that, he's going to have to probably go to the hard compound tires. But he probably still put the sauce on. I probably would too, but me being safe, probably put the hards on. But going through here, you can see my teammate is almost in DRS, and I actually thought about giving him DRS, but I couldn't, because Destroyer is actually having he's actually getting a lot of time on this outlap. So Destroyer is that green dot coming onto the straight behind the same straight as me right now. So you see he is 16 seconds, and the reason why the gap's so small is because of obviously the pit lane. So Drayan is gonna gas up. We gained a bit of time, but I didn't want to take a chance on speeding, as my teammate does have a 3-second penalty. So we're gonna pit. We're gonna take our soft tires, or sorry, medium tires. We get out pretty nicely, and Destroyer is already going by. So at first I thought, wow, how has he got such a big undercut? But you actually see, he actually doesn't have a big undercut. We actually have a bit of oversteer, and that lost me a lot of time. And that actually made Pro get by me and lose DRS to Drayan. So now I gotta use a bit of the ERS here, which I probably was gonna do anyway, but now I have to waste it on a car that I shouldn't have to been overtaking. So I don't think Pro battled too hard. I think he was down on the ERS, but I still don't think he was gonna fight hard. I don't know. But here, going into lap 10, we are close to Drayan, and Destroyer is 2.5 seconds ahead, but mainly 1.9 on Drayan. And I could tell now Drayan doesn't really have the pace. He's really looks like he's just kind of really tiptoeing around here. And me, I was really trying to get a move on. I knew Destroyer, the longer we waited, was the easier for him. So I knew I wanted to use my pace now, and because I knew I was quicker than Destroyer. So, and smart thing by Drayan, he doesn't really battle it, because that actually is going to help us catch up to Destroyer quicker because of the DRS. So as you can see, Drain's teammate Kruzma is actually on the same strat as my teammate Jesse, and Destroyer, he's catching. He's less than a second now, so I'm actually starting to see this, and I'm trying to get a move on because I want to gain as much time before Destroyer gets there, because I know that could be just even extra time, basically before he even gets to him. So you see here, the gap's 1.9. Going through here, 1.6. 1 point, if it changes, 1.6,
Okay, gap ahead
1.5. So we gained about 3/10. Now it's going to be about 1.4 as I'm using the battery here, and Destroyer is actually going to go for the overtake because he can't waste time, because I almost got in the DRS, and if he waited, I would have gotten his DRS. So, but really, I've already caught up to Destroyer. But going on to lap 12,
okay, you're within 1 second.
again, I want you to pay attention to Destroyer's turn 1 if you didn't see when he was in front of me, the lines he was taking.
Drop your speed, our delta is too
But
low and we risk a penalty.
a safety car comes
Slow your
out,
pace immediately.
and now
Dude, you clutch.
chaos is finna come. So my teammate Jesse's on the medium soft strat. He's gonna pit for the sauce, obviously. The question is what are me, Destroyer, and Drain gonna do? And Drain has a teammate in front. So you see Destroyer, he's gonna stay out. Kruzma obviously has to pit. Drain is actually gonna stay out because he doesn't want to double stack. So we are gonna be on fresher soft tires than their mediums. So and the softs are just so much quicker, and especially out of these low grip corners. They really won't make a difference in the high speed, but they will in the low speed. So
Dude, you can
I knew now we are in a really good position, but I am
Only
on,
one stop to go.
I believe,
One stop
2
left in this
warnings.
strategy.
I think Destroyer is on no warning, and I just want to say this now. There is a lot of stuff that's going to happen, and I will kind of talk about that as it goes along. So, coming on to the safety car restart here, we have Pro, who stayed out as well on the medium tires with no penalties. So we are racing him to Jesper pit on the softs, and Kruzma on the softs also. Obviously, like I said, put it for the sauce, but he gets a bit of oversteer, and I had to slow down because I was actually setting up to pass him on the straight and dive bomb turn 1, but I didn't even think about doing it here, but I got so much traction. I said I gotta take this opportunity, so I decided to overtake him. And then going into Eau Rouge, Pro makes a bit of a mistake. He messes up, so now we have to run on him. And I don't think Pro's actually going to fight this too hard. He just kind of let me by. So respect to him. I'm surprised he really wasn't fighting me. I thought he was going to fight me, because typically people really do fight me a lot, which I don't mind. There's not very many that fight me. There's a couple people that don't really fight me, which is fine too. I mean, you're entitled to do your own thing. And people that don't really race me, I tend to repay the favor at times. So
You're lapping around a second faster
here
than
we
the
set the
car
fastest
ahead.
lap,
Keep this
and
up.
you see Drain. I'm expecting Drain to put up a fight here, considering what happened in the Netherlands. He did put up a bit of a fight in the Netherlands, so I'm expecting him to put up a bit of a fight here. But going through here, I know he's going to put the ERS on, so I'm trying to stay in the slipstream. But you see here, his ERS
Okay,
is
clear.
definitely not on. And if it's on, he's don't have a lot of straight on
Drop your
speed, but
speed,
the
our
safety
delta
car
is too
comes out
low
again
and
at the
we risk a
perfect time.
penalty. Slow
We
your pace
passed
immediately.
Drain. We were starting to get pretty low on the ERS as the safety car is going to come in again. But now we can charge up our ERS and focus on Destroyer, because we are set up to win this race. But you see the conditions have changed, so now we're going to have to adjust to have a bit of oversteer. But Drain actually pits, and this is really when the real chaos starts. So I just want to say,
The car behind is dropping back by about 3/10 a lap.
really the thing I'm mad about wasn't really, the whole what we're gonna come into next lap as we get a penalty there, because I just couldn't see because of the shine. At first, it was just hard for me to see, but
That's my race.
I just want to say it's perfectly fine. You know, I've had admins say don't push it over the limit, or don't do anything you'll regret, or don't make yourself look bad. I got this. I'm totally fine. But my teammate Jesse is actually going to go to the inside. Destroyer leaves the space, but then he doesn't leave the space, and you see my teammate's light is blinking, and my teammate actually was not happy about that, and I actually get by him. So now, and you see here, Destroyer turns in massively early. And like I said, if you saw his turn once when he first was racing me, you would see that he definitely, like I said, he has a mirror. So he definitely saw me coming. So,
I'm reporting.
and I told the admins, if that's legal, then I'm going to do the exact same thing to him, because you know, if he wants to race hard, let's race hard. I mean, obviously, you really can't do that with him, because then when we race hard, he throws a fit. But we're going to use the ERS here to try and get by. And, you know, I would say that's a bit excessive. You know, I kind of thought in my head as he hits me again, I said maybe I kind of do deserve that. I wasn't too mad about that, but I knew he was probably going to turn in on me. I just really kind of was thinking maybe he wouldn't, and now I can kind of start to see he's trying to get me spun out here. So I decided to wait for a better opportunity. I saw him struggling, so I decided to go for it right here, but
Then he just turned.
yeah, I would say that was my fault too. At first I did say that was his fault, but yeah, I would say that's my fault. But
Let's go, buddy. Good
as
job.
far as other stuff goes, I probably would say, as far as him trying to come down and spin me out, yeah, as far as I'm concerned, he's done for the rest of the season. The admins were saying you shouldn't be saying stuff like he's done or anything like that, and I don't think the admins should really stop. The admins really should stop trying to get into stuff like this and just let the drivers do it. When the incident happens, that's when you should show up, not telling the drivers this and that. But yet again, this is F1 and this type of stuff happens. But we'll deal with that when it comes in the future, because Destroyer, as far as I'm concerned, isn't getting anything from me for the rest of the season. So we'll see what happens in Imola. Congrats to my teammate Jesse for not winning that race and not letting him win, because I was not happy he was moving under braking. But this is CRT Blacks, and good night.